Hi everyone, my name's Emily, and the Sdaie strategy that I'll be explaining to you today is called picture sequencing. You all have this lovely handout in front of you, which I apologize, it's a little dense. But what I'm going to do now is I'm going to explain everything that's on here, so you don't necessarily have to read it, but you can use it as a reference. So as I said before, my Sdaie strategy is called picture sequencing, which is basically when students are given pictures that follow along with the major events in a story, and they're asked to read the story and then place the pictures in sequential order. This strategy can be used in numerous ways. I chose to outline two different ways that they can be used and include them kind of in one lesson plan. So what I explained during the instructional steps, there's a lot of information on here, but the important parts are in bold, and those explain the steps you should take if you wanted to use a strategy the way that I did. So basically the very first thing, I used the three little pigs as my example, and the teacher first should choose a few of the pictures in order to introduce the story. So not giving everything away, but showing students kind of the main few ideas that can help them to predict, which is the first way I'm going to be using this strategy. So then students will read the title of the story, and using the pictures, they will predict what they think is going to happen. So we'll do a demonstration of this later on. The next step would be to introduce any new vocabulary, and this is really important because students, especially EL students, will have trouble with a lot of the vocabulary in stories that you're reading, and so in order to prepare them and to have them feel confident while they're actually reading the story, it's better that they're familiar with the vocabulary before they begin reading. So the next step is to obviously read the story and then to give students all of the pictures that describe the major events and let them place those in order. So the final step that I decided to include works especially well for EL students, and that is to explain the sequence pictures and to retell the story. And this is really helpful to practice their speaking skills, and this way you can focus any sort of grammar that you're trying to teach. So this one's especially good for past simple, maybe irregular verbs, things like that. Picture sequencing is so important, especially for ELs, because it kind of helps them visualize the concepts that they're learning and can help them relate to the story. And it gives them a way to mentally organize the information without using words, which may be challenging for them. So if you'll turn the page over, implications for classroom management. This strategy definitely works best in a small group setting. So I was thinking in terms of small group rotations, and it's really important that the students are grouped by levels so that they're all obviously reading the same story. So you would want maybe each group has a separate story, and while other students are working on other activities, you would be with your small group leading them in this picture sequencing activity. Materials would include a vocabulary list, obviously books for each student, and printed pictures to go with each story. So I was thinking about introducing sequencing for the very first time and kind of comparing it to the life cycle of a plant, which is something that most students will know about. So by showing pictures of maybe a seed, a growing plant, and a dying plant, students can realize that there's a beginning, a middle, and an end, and then you can relate that to a story and explain that the end of the story can't come before the beginning, just as the dead plant can't come before the seed. The description of the language used, this skill is very helpful for reading comprehension, writing skills, because while they're learning sequencing, it will help them sequence their own stories, as some younger students tend to, write the end of the story before the beginning. This is very helpful to the EL population because instead of reading blindly and going in having no clue what they're reading, this gives them context and helps them to connect the words on the page with things that they already know, which is really helpful for fluency and all sorts of things. My husband and I are actually going to do a little demonstration of picture sequencing. So my husband is an EL, which you'll notice in the video. So we're going to pretend that he is maybe a first grade, maybe second grade student. And just to simplify things, we're going to be using the Three Little Pigs. So my husband and I are actually going to do a little demonstration of picture sequencing. So my husband is an EL, which you'll notice in the video. So we're going to pretend that he is maybe a first grade, maybe second grade student. And just to simplify things, we're going to be using the Three Little Pigs. Hi everyone, this is my husband Marco.
Hi everyone.
Marco and I are going to be explaining picture sequencing with a little demonstration. So, as the first step says, the teacher has chosen a few pictures in order to introduce the story. So first I'm going to lay these pictures out for Marco. Okay? And I'm going to explain to him that the title of the story is called The Three Little Pigs. Okay? So, Marco, based on these three pictures, what do you think is going to happen in this story? What do you see here?
That the little pigs, after they build their house, a wolf with a breath destroyed the house made with
straw. Yeah, good, very good. Okay, great. So now that we have done the prediction, I'm going to introduce any new vocabulary. Okay, so obviously the vocabulary review that I would do with students would be a lot more detailed, and we would have different ways for the kids to remember the different vocabulary words, and maybe even a list of the words in front of them with pictures that are corresponding. Marco, now that we've read the story, what I would like you to do is I would like you to look at these pictures, think about the major events, the important things that happened in the story, and put the pictures in the correct order. Okay, so put the pictures in order from what you remember from this story.
Yeah.
Okay, very good. So these are the different events that you remembered.
Yeah.
So now what we're going to do is I'm going to ask you to retell me the story of the Three Little Pigs. So you remember the story because you did a very good job putting them in order. Now, can you please retell me in your own words what happened in this story?
There were one time three little pigs that decided to live alone. So they decide to build a tree house. And one pig build an house with a straw.
Good.
One pig with a stick of wood, and one pig with a brick.
Good.
When they finished, a wolf came to us
To their house, yeah.
to their house, and with a blow destroyed the fish house with a
Straw.
And,
Good.
And so the little pig went into the house made by the stick of wood, and but the wolf with a blow destroyed this house also.
Good. He blew the house down.
He blew the house down.
Good. Blow is a verb.
Yeah.
So the past tense is blew. He blew the house down.
And so the two pigs came in the strong house the house made with brick.
Mm-hmm.
And so when the wolf tried to destroy this
Destroy.
this house,
Mm-hmm.
he wasn't he wasn't able,
Mm-hmm.
and the pigs were happy, and so the wolf tried to come in this house on the chimney,
Mm-hmm.
but the pigs put in the first place the a pot with hot water,
Good.
and so when the wolf followed down,
Fell down.
fell down,
Mm-hmm.
he fell inside the hot water, and the pigs won, and the wolf escaped.
Good. Okay. Okay, so as you can see, this is an activity that does take a long time, especially if you have the students retell the story. So a way to do that in a group setting would be to have each student retell one of the major events. So that way each student in the group is getting a chance to speak and to practice their speaking skills. So that was our demonstration of picture sequencing. And like I said, there's so many ways that you can use this in a lesson. It's really up to you and how creative you want to get. So thanks for watching.